Hey there, and thank you so much for your interest in becoming a reverse pitch presenter at our third annual WaterPitch Water Startup Matching Extravaganza in Washington, D.C., coming up February 18th to 20th, 2025. In the next 10 minutes, I just want to quickly go over why you need to be there, why you need to be a reverse pitch presenter, what are the benefits to you, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right here. And let's get that expanded so you can see. Okay, fantastic. So this is the essential information about what we call the water pitch experience for reverse pitch presenters. That is any investors, funders, clients, accelerators, and other support programs. And to be very clear, we are a different and new approach to working with the water entrepreneurship community. This is not a big expo with a few startups on the side that only the most advanced stage startups can really afford to go to. This is not a demo day for an accelerator, right? With just whichever random folks happen to be in that group, right? We are trying to build a cohesive water entrepreneurship community, a one-stop shop event for all of the elements of that water entrepreneurship community with the startups in the center, right? Startups is a star. Everybody's coming from a place of how can we best help those people who have innovative approaches to water and want to create a business around that. How can we help them to really grow and get their contributions out there as fast as possible? So, and of course, we have two what we call Show Me the Money sessions. One is for VCs and angels and corporate venturing. One is for foundations and federal funders, which, for many of the federal agencies, it's actually a contract to develop some new innovation. We also have the clients, what we call the voice of the customer sessions. So we got a whole session of just water utilities and authorities and drinking water, wastewater, floods, etc. And then you've got everybody else who uses water. So industrial, commercial, consumer facing, residential, environmental uses of new water technology, right? And then finally, we end up with the entrepreneur support organizations that are so critical, the incubators, accelerators, innovation hubs, clusters, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of them out there. Some of them are much more broad for sustainability and climate. Some of them are more deep tech, just a whole bunch of different areas. Now we're seeing a lot of AI, which is also very useful for water. Now, what we're doing here is we're creating an environment that allows everybody to come from a place of supporting the startup, but also supporting each other. We're creating what we call pipelines and pathways within and across these different segments within the water entrepreneurship community. Often that looks like on-ramps and off-ramps, right? So if somebody comes to you, they got a great idea, but they're not quite ready for your organization, who are the folks that you can send them to so that they can get ready, so they can work on their business plan and pitch deck, and they can get some initial funding, do some initial pilots, or perhaps they've kind of graduated out of something at your level, and you want to send them to someone who is really going to be a specialist in investments in companies that that can really provide an entryway into the water sector or the industrial sector, or get their product on in big box stores, right? So those are the pathways and pipelines that we're creating. Now let's talk about the program. This is a question we often get. What is the program? So this is not pretty, but this is a good at a glance of what the program is. So, as you can see, the main event is in the middle of the program. We do have what we call prep day in the afternoon of Tuesday the 18th. So this is President's Day week, and then we have Policy Day the day after the event. So for those of you who can stick around, we're here in Washington, D.C. We've got access to so many, to Congress, to agencies, to trade reps in the various embassies and consulates, to big NGOs like the World Bank. So, there's a lot of opportunities here in the D.C. area, and we can help you with that. But first, let's start with prep day. Now, actually, our preparation, both for pitches and reverse pitches, starts way before people even get here to DC. We are getting ready to kick off our virtual pitch prep and practice sessions. So once a week, we're going to open up our Zoom call, and anyone who wants to come in with their pitch deck They have a chance to practice. They have a chance to get some feedback, move this around. You want to get to the point earlier on this, make sure people understand what you're doing, make sure it's the right pitch for this audience. And then we're also welcome to reverse pitches. In many cases, the people who are reverse pitching, they've never done this before. So to help them really identify what is a good water challenge, to talk about what they're looking for in terms of innovation and what kind of solutions they're looking for. How can they best communicate in a reverse pitch to this audience of startups and startup supporters? We also are lining up several really cool clinics that we're going to announce very soon that are open to anybody who is registered for our event. So if you want to come in the afternoon before, you're welcome to come to the clinics. You're welcome to be part of the judging or the presentation coaching, getting people out from behind the screens. So we got the virtual pitch prep, but that's still on screen. With the presentation coaching, they actually get in front of, in the room where they're going to present. Test out the AV, make sure everything's set up right, make sure they're comfortable with looking at the audience, walking around and doing things that you can't do when you're stuck in front of a Zoom call, okay? Then we're all going to get together and have a nice presenters dinner. So if you don't get in until the evening, just join us at DC Water or RSVP if you're coming, and we'll let you know what restaurant we go to. Someplace close by. It's a gorgeous area down by the baseball stadium and everything. Lots of new restaurants down there. Now, let's get to pitch day. Pitch day is the main event, right? So here we've got alternating sessions of pitches and reverse pitches. So everybody's getting the same amount of time. So on the pitch side, everyone is following a similar structure with ample time for discussion. But what we want to emphasize here is that, a lot of folks, when they hear water entrepreneurship, they're like, what's water entrepreneurship? Oh, you're just talking about utilities. What's water entrepreneurship? Oh, you're talking about, the global water crisis and saving those poor people in poor countries on the other side of the world. They don't see the full spectrum of how water shows up in residential, in energy, in food, in navigation, in ports and harbors, in transportation, in habitat, in, you name it, all of these climate disasters, right? Data centers, there's a lot going on in water. And so, in some cases, for the startups, if they've got a technology that, yes, it might be helpful for utilities, or it might be helpful for poor countries or something like that, but it's also useful by those who can make the money flow faster, right, to the industrial, to the private sector clients that can get them started, that can do their pilot testing and then move into some of those other slower markets, right? So okay, so and what we do is when someone comes to us, we sort them out into different categories. It's not just random acts of pitching, right? Where they just throw people on the stage. We call it the little Miss America walk, where they walk to the center of the stage, they do their pitch and they walk off. There's no introduction. There's no understanding of what this company is about and why it's so special, right? So we sort them into different categories. We come up with facilitators who really get to know each of the startups, and so they can kind of tee them up, right, and get the audience excited about them ahead of time. We've got in room A, that's going to be the big boardroom at DC Water. That's the industrial environmental remediation. That's municipal wastewater, stormwater floods, disasters. That's water and wastewater. Sorry, water infrastructure and drinking water. And then the other room, we've got what we call the smaller markets. Point of use, global wash, workforce, environmental justice, contracting, billing. We've got the residential, commercial, food and beverage, aquaculture, recreation, and travel. You can read it all here, right? So, and again, I mentioned this earlier, this idea of pathways and pipelines and the ways that we're really trying to present a mix of different types of investors, of funders, of different federal agencies, different client types, and what are they looking for? And and then we include with that a whole lot of time to connect. You can see that with everyone getting together for lunch. Not overloading people with so many speakers that they can't actually connect with each other. So, speaking of speakers, these are some of the folks that have already confirmed. We've really got some excellent folks. This is all going up in an app that is launching this week. or may have already launched by now. So Veolia, we just heard back from Xylem. We got DC Water. We've really got some great folks coming out. Techstars, Citron Angels, Mentor Capital Network, Swan, the Smart Water networks. Okay, so and then again, we're sorting them into different categories. So that's also not going to be what we call random access speaking. You're going to be very clear what you're going to hear in each of the sessions. Policy day, the day after, this is something new. We've talked about doing this before, but we are reserving a room. We are talking with some of the startups who pitched with us previously. And we're going to have a session that's just startups, because typically, this is an industry that is so driven by both regulation, negative things. Oh my God, we have to do this, so now we're going to need to find someone to solve this problem for us. But also the positive side, new funding, new research findings out of federal agencies or federal labs, right? New opportunities available there. So there's an opportunity there to hear from the startups, as opposed to what they usually hear on the Hill from water, from the big utilities, big associations, big tech firms. And so there's a lot more members of Congress that are former entrepreneurs, former small business owners, that can relate perhaps a little more to the startups. And then, of course, you've got Embassy Row, you've got all the agencies, you've got some other opportunities. And to the extent we can, we'll help you just kind of figure out, how do you approach them? How do you set up those meetings? How do you put together a one pager? We'll have something on that. Now, I want to emphasize that we are a 501c3. We do not tell you what to say. We're not an association trying to get everyone, on the same, on the same, just telling everyone what to say. We're not going to do that. So anyway, we are going to be at DC Water's HQO. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this video short, but if you haven't been to HQO, it's right there on the Anacostia River. It's gorgeous, overlooking the river. So we're going to be, room A is going to be that boardroom. Then we've got this hallway right next to it. So everything's going to take place in that area on the second floor of DC Water, right? So there's no running around from building to building, or having the presentations on one floor and the expo on another floor, and then the startups are all hidden back in a corner somewhere, right? It's going to be very easy for people to connect with each other. And part of the way we do that, we've got 15-minute breaks between every session. And I forgot to mention here, in addition to the two presentation rooms, we've got a couple of smaller rooms, which will be the clinics on prep day, but it'll also be available for private meetings on the during pitch day. We also have a media room, and we're inviting in media. So this will be a great opportunity to really get your message out during the event. So as I said, we've got 15 minutes between every session, really providing that opportunity to connect. We also have, after every startup pitch, people have a few seconds to jot down their responses. So people are getting feedback on their pitches, and have the opportunity to put in comments, including inviting people to contact them, right? So if you find someone you're interested in, go ahead and type it in right there, rather than trying to look for them later, right? And I already mentioned that these are already prepared with virtual pitch prep and practice sessions. And then we just have all this connection opportunity, the presenters dinner, the lunch, the reception, the sponsor breaks. We also are going to have a few spots available for on-site exhibits. Before, we were doing, where everybody had a chance to do an on-site exhibit. We only have room for 10. So we're doing something really cool there. I'll explain that in a second. And we are continuing to do our paper guidebook, which has all the information. So, as you're listening, you can be taking notes. This is really helping people to, remember who they hear. But then we're getting, this is brand new this year. We have developed something cool with our event app. And if you've ever been to a World Water Tech, Blue Tech, Capitol Hill Oceans Week, a lot of groups are using this thing called Swapcar. That's the platform. So if you've seen this format before, you've used Swapcar before, very intuitive, very easy to use. But what we've done, and this is really cool, okay? So the things that we're asking people to cover in their pitches, we're putting into a virtual booth. And we're going to give every single pitching startup a virtual booth. So you're not just going to see a link and a logo, right? Or the name of a company and everybody's aqua this and hydro that, right? This is going to give you a lot more information. So if we're helping them to create a one-liner that's kind of like an XYZ statement. So you see that right off the bat, and then you can read a little more, and then you have information about what they've done before with accelerators, investment rounds, key personnel, markets, etc., that really give you a better sense of who these are, all in the palm of your hand in your app, right? Easy to find, easy to search, critical information. And again, a lot of these startups, they either go too broad and say, you should invest in us because water is life and we do water, right? Or they go way too narrow into, this is why batch processing is better than continuous processing, or continuous processing is better than batch processing, right? You need to have that one-liner. So the other thing we're doing for you as a reverse pitch presenter, if you commit, when you commit to coming to reverse pitch, and we can put you on the program, we will create for you a simple virtual booth. Now, if you want to add to that, there's also options to add videos and that sort of thing. But at a bare minimum, people will be able to say who you are, right? And in many cases, it's not just Veolia, it's the innovation, the head of water innovation for Veolia, right? It's not just some random investor specifically works on infrastructure, specifically works with DoD, with NASA, with a lot of the folks that are, doing this really high-tech stuff, right? So people are going to be able to get that additional information in the app. And when they register, and when you register, that's when you get access to this. So this doesn't go to everybody. We don't just blast this out to everybody. You only get this if you commit to coming, if you register to come to this event, okay? And please, 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 don't even ask us about virtual pitches. Don't even say, well, we decided we don't want to come. It's not in our budget. We don't want to come, but we just want you to do a virtual booth for us. We will not do a virtual exhibit for you unless you are coming, right? This is a matching event. We need you in the room. We have startups flying in from all over the country, from around the world, who want to meet you. So this benefit of the virtual exhibit is only available to those people who are actually going to be showing up. So please do commit to us. And the earlier you commit to coming to our event, the earlier we can develop your virtual exhibit, the earlier people can start saying, oh my God, I didn't know you're going to be there. Well, that's it. I'm coming just to meet you, right? So after the event, by the way, we really are building up this community with things like the Water Innovation Nation Celebration Virtual Summit. We're selecting some of our favorites from, everybody's my favorite, but, some of our favorites from the last 2 years participated in the 2024 Water Innovation Nation Celebration Virtual Summit. We had over 300 people sign up for this from all over the place. So this really, has an opportunity to expand the information available and the access for these startups. And then these virtual exhibits, we are working with Swap Cards creators to figure out how we can turn that into an event, into a year-round membership app. Right. So you'll continue to get access. You'll also be able to update your exhibit as you get, say, a new round of funding, or a new open a new applications for a new accelerator, right? So this is really going to help us to build this community beyond just one annual event, right? So if you have any questions, please check out here our Calendly link, and you'll also see a button below that can show you how to sign up for a quick session, quick 30-minute conversation with me, or email me, call me, or just go to waterpitch.org, click on the reverse pitch button, and put your information in and get yourself onto our program. And that's it. So we look forward to seeing you at WaterPitch and being part of the WaterPitch community. Thank you so much for your time.